So together we had 3 board members and we started this amazing journey to change. And we created it from scratch, but it was all coming through us, not from us. It was a mission that no one even knew what human trafficking meant, not even me. I did know that there was sex slavery, modern day slavery of children. Why? Because I experienced it. So that's where the fire started there, Miss Stacy. I am a change maker. I wrote a book, I told the truth, I feel confident, and I'm still alive here to talk about it. And I'm still here to help others. I have a great job, a career that I plan on being in the rest of my life. I did something in the foundation to give back because most survivors turn thrivers, become from victim to victress, and then guess what? Philanthropy. Give back. Give back, tell your stories, don't be afraid, stand up.
How do we support survivors of trafficking when starting the conversation can sometimes feel uncomfortable? Welcome back to the Six Pack. I'm your host, Stacy Huston, Executive Director of SixDegrees.org. And today I'm getting to know Kimberly Miles. She is the founder and board president at S.H.E.R.O Foundation, who we are super excited to partner with for our Purpose Produced campaign. And we will talk probably a little bit about that later. But Kimberly, you're a nonprofit founder, a self-described master connector, which I kind of describe myself the same way. So takes one to know one. And you're leading the charge to support young survivors of trafficking in your community of Las Vegas, Nevada. And if you couldn't guess it, that background tells that whole story. Thank you for joining us on the Six Pack today.
Thank you for having me, Stacy. It's exciting to be here.
Same. We're excited for all of our supporters to learn more about the incredible work that you do. So why don't we just jump right in? If you could just tell us a little bit about your organization and how do you guys bring your mission to life?
Okay, first I want to start out with like a little meditation. I'm the firstborn child of the universe, is how, and so are you. Bringing a message that only I can deliver. I'm just me, Kimberly, and that's all I need to be. In my heart, I realized that I wasn't going to let someone else own my story. I was going to show the proven work of the things that I did and the work that I was doing behind the scenes. I started my company in 2000. I made enough money to employ full time people and affect the community. S.H.E.R.O, you can't spell it, right? HR is right in it for hero or S.H.E.R.O. So it's all contained in what I do with humanity. So together we had 3 board members and we started this amazing journey to change. And we created it from scratch, but it was all coming through us, not from us. It was a mission that no one even knew what human trafficking meant, not even me. But I did know that there was sex slavery, modern day slavery of children. Why? Because I experienced it. So that's where the fire started there, Miss Stacy.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, thank you for sharing. And in the work that you're doing, I guess the kind of the second part of the question, like how does that mission come to life? Like, what do your programs look like?
Well, digging into the programs, the number one thing is putting our mobile units on the ground to get in front of the clients. You don't always know what the clients are, so you provide a safe haven with law enforcement, with vetted law enforcement that you trust, that doesn't have any records or even questioning of how they are with the kids. Quick pro quo. A child is not a prostitute. So that was like a big undertaking in the beginning to get to law enforcement. How
The
can you keep it
language?
safe?
Yeah.
Oh my
Mhm.
gosh, changing. Well, overall in education, right? In education. So, in the programs, by getting on the streets, by letting them know there's actually resources and options, and there's people that care about you. So, I'm trained, meaning 50 hours of work that we can go into the court systems, we can go into the prisons, because sometimes they're convicted
Mm,
unlawfully, right? They're kids, by the way. Right?
mhm.
And they're led by adults, and that's who I wanna get to is the buyers and the sellers more than the buyers. So the program's gonna be offering everything from transportation, housing, and a number one thing for me is mental health. You gotta get them in a safe place, That's what had to happen to me. I had to be safe and not afraid because the traffickers and the buyers are just like us, Stacy. You never know the difference who they are. They have companies and businesses, and they're married and have children, and then they're in their community, and most of the time, well recognized individuals. So we also have something that's recent. We have 6 programs, but I want to talk about the spirit. S.H.E.R.O spirit comes from a lot of where I healed myself. Music is medicine. Breathing every single day to learn how to breathe and release, to calm myself, to be grounded. Singing bowls, tuning forks, adjustments, the vagus nerve, cranial massage, allowing yourself, one, to forgive yourself and get rid of shame and guilt.
For
But
sure.
this comes in alongside the medical piece. With the medical piece, yes, some people definitely need medicine in the psychological state of trauma because normally the first 3 months after we help a young female, she can't sleep. One, she doesn't trust
Mhm.
you. Sometimes it goes longer. So I can't even get back into the business of workforce to provide for myself and function because I've been told what to do. For me, it was since 15. So, medical, transportation, housing, counseling, and holistic healing. We also have education, which is our Skillsoft nationwide program, S.H.E.R.O skill program. So, one stop.
That's wonderful. I mean, it has to be, right? Because if you're building trust, it takes a while to build trust, especially with those that had experienced trauma like this. And like you said, there's shame. So, what I love so much about that is because you've spent the time building trust. How many other services and intersections to the work can you do to help, this person, this survivor, to heal and to put their life back together after finding a way out. So, I mean, I feel like I could probably guess that there's a lot of reasons, but what do you find to be the most rewarding part of your work with Be a Shiro?
Me being healed from helping others. I
Mm,
heal myself every time I go into another layer once we have a success story, and it's very, steady in the sense that it doesn't stop. There's not a magical day when everything's fixed. There's a mountain that you climb in each section of your mind gym as you go through to peel back the onion and get to the core of where this is, taking a piece of my soul,
yeah.
and how do I regain and build that? So, there's many things, but it really helps me by helping others. We're all connected, Stacy.
Yeah. No, absolutely. That's the whole idea of 6 degrees, right? We're all interconnected. We often say we're only 6 degrees or less from someone or something that really needs our help. And trying to kind of show that interconnection, I think, is powerful. Because, like you said just beautifully earlier, is that you never know who's been affected, who's a buyer, who's being sold. These things kind of walk around in plain sight.
Yeah.
We were reading as we were learning more about your organization that
Mhm.
human trafficking is recognized as the fastest growing criminal enterprise. They say that the average age of child sex trafficking victims is about 13 years old, which is kind of in line with broader studies that are saying from anywhere from 12 to 14, and that's kind of close to an alignment where you say that you were first involved. And with this overwhelming kind of also data showing that less than a percent of all victims are actually identified by governance and interceded, and that's globally, right? I know that you're
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
focused in the Las Vegas area, but this is a conversation that's happening
Well,
globally and across the United States. My question is, yes, this is something that was a part of you, but what made you wanna do this work? I mean, you could have really done anything and said, "I don't wanna look back. This was painful. This was too hard." I'd love for you to share a little bit about what made you kind of lean in.
well, I started Firstborn Child of the Universe. My husband actually wrote a poem for me about it, and understanding we all come here with a purpose. I decided to live my purpose. I got to go through that. That made me who I am today, and then I got to scratch my way step by step out of it. not with a fancy license. I didn't get to go to college. I got out there and I used my unique sense of growth and went with my gut to get out there and do something different. Again, it came from somewhere else, but I decided to take it on and have no shame in my game.
If you could change one perception that people have about um, trafficking work or, your organization even
Mhm.
specifically, what would it be?
The number one thing is it's you and me. It's not what you think it is. They do not look like scary monsters. Most of them are well to do financially, so they're all around each other at the same parties. Well, guess what? Traffickers and buyers, they both have a quick pro quo. So they're in the same circles. They're walking amongst you. Stop and look and ask questions. So the perception would be that they look like a big purple hat wearing, scary, poor. Nope. Change your mind. And the only way to change your mind and to change your behavior is to change the mindset and get educated. Why we have a huge education piece, because the average person has no idea what they look like. And the ones that get plastered out there, right, are usually these grubby photoshops at the police department, but we can lock arms and make change. This is ridiculous that we're still talking about this in 2025.
hmm So I would just love to kind of hear a little bit about a story of impact from B.E, someone that you either helped support as they were being, as they had survived trafficking or helped being rescued, or even someone that didn't have that exact lived experience, but you helped educate that was able to kind of make an impact in their community in a broader way, having learned from the resources you all provide. Anything along those lines.
Sure. So for the last 2.5 years, we took a gal from Ohio that was taken in by my husband and I remotely. We thought we were going to have somebody with boots on the ground there. We were contacted from the college. We went into the college, all the things that were happening, but it was right under their nose. And they said it was really running rampant. So we couldn't get her out of bed. They had to get her out of the dorm. They needed a resource. We made that introduction. After a couple months, she was able to, which was the first step, to start to socialize. We got her on the bus. She could not get in the bus. She couldn't use transportation. She was barely holding on. We had to get her off the drugs and alcohol, which through coaching, counseling, and assistance, we made change. So then we went from that to getting a job, getting her own apartment. We know that she was scared to death to go after her traffickers. And I graduated from the FBI Civilian Academy, and I made a few phone calls right here in Las Vegas. We actually got interest for Homeland Security out in Ohio. Got her an interview. Got her the needed, resource for police and FBI, which started this whole process all from on the phone. We then finally met in person, again, coaching over the phone, this virtual piece. She just moved to Las Vegas 2 weeks ago.
Hmm.
She wants to be surrounded by the S.H.E.R.O family. She's still on the journey. We're
Yeah.
almost at 3 years, but these are success to us. Fully employed. She's been able to talk about it. Most people can't talk about it and don't wanna live it to the police, and we never ask that they do that, but as they get stronger, they've used a jump board off of what I did. I don't want them to be me, but I want them to build their strength. And once they went to the gala, they felt so comfortable to create a video for us, which was amazing to me because they said, I am not looking for you to be the spokesperson. But a great story, and we're still on the journey. And I know she's going to do amazing things. Ooh, she's really in gratitude and creating change in her group of friends under the age of 21. Just turned 21 and,
Wow.
did that through the whole process from 18 and a half. So, really, they gotta wanna do it, though. That's the
Yeah.
toughest thing. Not they don't have the courage inside of them to do it. So, this is not every story. It takes around 7 times to make an
Mhm.
engagement, and I don't care if this is regular business, making a new friend, go on a date, you see somebody at the gym, the more times you see them, the more confidence you build in that, seeing that person and reading their energy, using your gut, that's how it rolls. But yeah, that's our recent one to
That's
that level.
incredible. I
Thank you.
mean, just the fact that it has been 3 years and you're still walking alongside her
Yeah.
and helping to continue that story is really powerful. So I know people are gonna wanna know how can people support your organization even if they're not in the Las Vegas area, or how can they get involved?
Well, it's really important that you get online, you come to the volunteer meeting. Several people on the board, if you look at SH.E.R.O and take a look where they're from, we have people all over the country. But I have a big, strong strength as SH.E.R.O that you can donate. You can get involved and volunteer from wherever you're at, or you can start up another location. We're working with about 7 people outside of Las Vegas, and you can do this in your town too. And I'll show you how. We're developing a book, a list, a bylaw agreement that people can share and change and get involved.
That's incredible. I love a blueprint and some infrastructure so you can help people say, set this up, do this in your own community. That's fantastic. We'll make sure that we share that all in the notes on the show, and direct people to learn more at your website as well, and tag you in all the socials. But Kimberly, thank you so much for spending time with us today and telling us a little bit more about your deeply personal story. And you are such a figure of strength, but also of inspiration for so many that are in this journey. And so we really, really thank you for spending some time with us.